Hello, Dr. Childress here. Again, I appreciate your taking the time and having the patience to listen to these video segments here. I know it's probably not by your choice, but you're doing it as a favor to the parent that you don't like, the rejected parent, and I appreciate you taking the time. Now, so far I've discussed the attachment system, what it is, and motivates children to bond to parents in order to receive parental protection from predators. I've talked about how after the divorce, you and the favored parent sort of co-created this definition of the rejected parent as being fundamentally inadequate and bad as a parent, and that this process, and I'm not saying that you don't feel the anger, you don't feel the frustration, and so you authentically feel this anger, this irritation, this annoyance with the other parent, but it's getting inflamed by the validation of the favored parent, and also the definitions of why the rejected parent is a bad parent are being sort of co-created, that they have anger management problems, or they're just not sensitive enough to you, or that they're too selfish and self-centered, it always has to be their way, things like that. Or it's just something about their personality. Then in the last segment, I talked about the grief response, how the attachment system is seeking to fulfill itself with the rejected parent, and because it's not being allowed to fulfill itself, you're experiencing this tremendous grief response out of the attachment system, whether you like it or not, it's just happening. And it's this feeling that's producing your distress. It's actually a grief response. And that's why you cannot put your finger on what it is about the rejected parent that's producing your annoyance. If you authentically think about it, it's not really about something they say or do. They're probably being pretty nice or trying to be pretty nice. And if you think about your friends and your friends' parents, your rejected parent is pretty normal range. They're not doing something that's way outside normal range. In addition, even if they were a bad parent, your attachment system would motivate you to bond more strongly to them. The attachment system motivates children to bond more strongly to bad parents than to good parents. Children don't reject parents. The children who rejected parents got eaten by predators. So what's happening here is you and the favored parent have defined the rejected parent as being fundamentally inadequate and as a bad, almost emotionally or psychologically abusive parent, which then defines them as the predator, so that your attachment system motivates you to flee the predator, the rejected parent, and bond to the supposedly nurturing parent in this case. But the problem is the attachment system under the surface continues to operate, continues to motivate you, strongly motivate you to bond to the rejected parent, and thereby produces this intense grief response. Now, where does the angry come from? Well, angry as an emotion has 3 levels to it. The top 2 levels are, you hurt me, so I hurt you, with angry being the I hurt you part, but underneath that is the you hurt me part. The 3rd level down is, the reason you hurt me is because I care about you, I love you, but you don't love me. Ow, that hurts, and now I'm angry. And so those are the 3 levels of angry. And what you're experiencing is, from the grief response, is a tremendous sense of sadness and hurt. But you can't put your finger on what's causing the hurt. But it has something to do with the rejected parent. Something about them is causing your hurt. Well, yeah, it's the grief response from your desire to bond, the unfulfilled desire to bond with them. But because they hurt you, well, you hurt me, I hurt you. So now you're angry back at them because you think they don't love you. Oh, no, that's not true at all. They love you very much. They want to bond with you. They're absolutely a fine, normal range, protective, loving parent. But it's this false creation of definition that they're somehow bad and abusive and don't love you and don't care about you, that's causing you the pain. And the unfulfilled attachment system that causes the grief response. And that's what's producing the anger. You hurt me, so I hurt you. But it's not really something they're doing. So it is about who they are. It's just simply who they are. Their presence motivates your attachment system toward bonding. And because you're not bonding, there comes the pain and the hurt. So you're right in that. It's not something that they're doing. It's something of who they are. But it's not because they're bad or a problem in what they're doing. Now, if you think about the grief response too, the grief response typically shows up when a parent or a child or a spouse dies. But think about what's going on in this situation. You want to entirely reject a relationship with your mom or your dad, one of your parents, the rejected parent. And you essentially want to spend all of your time and have the full relationship with the favored parent, which is essentially killing one of your parents. One of your parents is dead to you. That's consistent with the grief response. What you're trying to do is metabolize and resolve a grief response by killing one of your parents. So whereas in the normal range kind of circumstances, a parent will die and then the child experiences the grief, in this situation, it's backwards. You're experiencing a grief response and therefore trying to kill your parent in order to resolve that grief response so that you don't have to experience or feel it anymore. But that's really a problem because your parent is still here and they still love you very much. And you still love them and have the ability to bond with them. And so it's extremely tragic if you have to wind up killing a parent in order to manage a grief response that shouldn't be there. Your parent, the rejected parent, is not a bad parent. Okay, they love you. They're normal range. They probably have their idiosyncrasies, but they're not a bad parent. They love you. They care about you. And you don't have to lose a relationship with them. There's ways to solve it. And in the next video segment, I'll talk about those.